How to start selling solar remotely in 2024. Hey, welcome to another video on the channel. I'm extremely excited to bring this over to you because I know you're gonna need it. I know a lot of you that are just getting into the solar industry, or you're in the solar industry but you're absolutely fed up about the concept of knocking doors to generate leads and that being the only way you do business. Well, I'm gonna show you in this video exactly what you need to do in order to bring that dream of yours to be at the comfort of your home, in your bedroom, in your undies, selling over the phone the best product in the world, which is solar. Let's begin. All right, so in order to make that happen, there's a few things you got to keep in mind. Number one is the market you want to sell in. We have all 50 states, but of course not all 50 states are good to sell solar in. And so we're going to have to be very meticulously choosing our states and where we want to do business. In my exact process of determining what state is good to sell solar in, I look at a few factors. Number one is I want to know if that state even has net metering, which allows the homeowner to actually go solar and be able to sell the credits back to the utility provider. If the state doesn't offer that, or the utility company doesn't offer that, then it will be impossible for them to go solar. The second thing I look for in my decision-making process of determining whether or not it's a good state is I look at electricity rates. What do people pay for electricity in that state? If it's relatively low, then it might not be a good fit, or you might want to still do it because there's a lot of pro-solar utility companies and people in that state just love the idea. I can name a few states like that. The people absolutely love it, and they're actually not paying that much for electricity, but they still love the idea of going solar. And at that point, obviously, you would switch your pitch to pitching the long-term investment opportunity that solar has to present, other than the month-to-month savings that they're going to get. Because in all reality, you're not really going to be saving them a lot of money right to begin with. But in 5 to 10 years from now, when the inflation is through the roof, they will start seeing some savings. And so it would make sense for them, but it just doesn't make sense for them right now. So you have to be doing a lot of future pacing in order to make them realize that. Now, I will have a separate video, obviously, talking about that, exactly how to pitch the solar deal. But that's for my second choice of what I do to choose the right market. And the last thing I look for, number 3, is I look for pro-solar utility companies in the state. And what does that really mean? It means those are companies that are usually making it a hell for the homeowner to go solar. The permitting is a lot harder to obtain, and so on and so forth. And so those companies I keep to the side, and those ones that actually are pro-solar, those are the ones I focus on. These are my 3 things I look at in my decision-making process. But once I've decided what market I want to sell in, I have to know who's going to install the jobs, who's going to take care of the work, who's going to carry out the work, and who's going to take care of my customers. So I am now on the hunt of figuring out which installer is the best possible installer for me to do business with. And over the years, I've contradicted myself time and time again, because at one point I might have said that big companies are the way to go. Then I went back to saying that smaller companies are actually a way to go. Now what I do is I do a very thorough due diligence on my side to ensure that the installer is not only bootstrapped, but they also care about taking care of my customers. And there's a few ways you can find out that's the case. Number one is you got to ask other people that are already working with the installer and ask for feedback. The second thing I do is I look at their BBB rating. I mean, I need to know that their BBB score is up there, because my customers are going to look that up anyway. So I want to make sure that that is spot on, so it doesn't cost me deals. It's very easy to ruin a deal because of that. And the reality of a situation like that, if you're selling over the phone, is that a deal can very easily be lost because of your installer's rating. So you want to make sure that your installer has some pretty good ratings. The next thing I look for in an installer is I want to know beyond the red line, which a lot of solar amateurs tend to care about, I look at the agreement and then the adder sheet. This is where I tend to focus my attention on at the beginning, because installers can lure you in with a low red line and not show you the adder sheet, or they'll show you the adder sheet, but you be too stupid to look at it in the first place. And then what will happen is you get onboarded, you waste all this time, and then you need to start submitting deals. And when you start putting together deals, you find out that it doesn't make sense, and the homeowner actually isn't saving anything because it costs you all that money for like little things. Like literally they'll nickel and dime you for the smallest details, and then when it's all said and done, you're not making any money, and the homeowner isn't saving that much either. So it's a lose-lose situation at that point. So beyond the red line, I look at the adder sheet and I look at exactly what each and every single thing of the main things is going to cost me. And the last but not least, when determining what installers to work with, I look at speed to install and communication. To me, that's the most important thing out of all. And actually, beyond the speed of install, I really want to know that they can communicate their problems with me, because there's no such thing as a perfect installer. It doesn't exist. I've been in the industry for 4 years. I haven't seen it, and I'll probably never see it, because this business is messy. It's beautiful, but it's messy. And so I want people to let me know from the company, from their internal team,
to tell me, hey bro, don't sell in that state. Hold on there. This state is where we perform really well right now. Or these 2 or 3 states is where it's at. You can start focusing your efforts there, okay?
And I want to be alerted. I don't want to start pushing them a lot of deals because that's what we're doing. I don't want to start, because that's spending my money, the company's money, my time, effort, and energy, my team's time, effort, and energy. And then all of a sudden, it very quickly becomes a lose-lose situation. And I don't want to find myself there. And so I always want to make sure that their communication is spot on and they actually care about serving us. And if you want to get onboarded and start selling over the phone, we can help you with that. So absolutely feel free to reach out. Now, the next thing, once you figured out the markets and the installers, is the leads. You got to figure out how you're going to be generating leads, because now you're not doing any door knocking. You have to figure out a way to come up with leads. You have to make people show up at your door. Instead of you going out knocking on theirs, they're going to show up at your door begging for you to sell them. There's a lot of different ways to generate leads. One is through ads. You can do YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram ads. You could also do cold calling. You could also do outbound text message campaigns or voicemail drops, which in our brand new tool, Solar Boss AI, I'm extremely excited to be able to bring this over to you very, very soon. You'll see exactly how we do it, and you'll be able to generate unlimited amount of leads through those methods. But generally speaking, you have to have a solid way of generating leads, because if you don't, then you're not going to have any opportunities for you to close deals. I don't personally think there's a best way of doing it. If you don't want to go the cold calling route because you don't want to manage people, you don't want to look after, the system and so on and so forth, what you can do is you can turn into an outbound text message or voicemail drop campaign, or you can turn into ads. There's so many different ways. Like I said, there's no one perfect way. You're just going to have to find whatever works for you. I have a special training. You can check it out down below, where I actually show you exactly how to generate leads for this specific reason. How do you generate leads so you never have to leave your bedroom and you could sell from anywhere in the world? Now, once you've tested different ways of generating leads, you figured out which method works for you in terms of time consumption and a CPA, which stands for cost per acquisition, what it costs you to acquire a deal, then you go ahead and focus on that one channel. I tell people, until you're absolutely crushing it, and I mean crushing it, I mean probably 50 plus deals a month, don't even think about an additional channel. One platform, one channel. You don't have to spread across multiple different methods of generating leads. One is enough, especially at the beginning as you're ramping up your sales. Once you figured out the leads part, now it's time to get set up with a CRM. And there's lots of CRMs out there for you to choose from. I personally really like Go High Level because that's what I'm used to. And I'm very, very proud to announce that very, very soon we are launching our very own CRM that's going to absolutely disrupt the whole entire solar industry. And it will have an opportunity for you to generate leads inside of the platform, as well as have a massive follow-up, including an AI butler and everything else. So you won't have to hire VAs, but more on that later. But yes, you have to figure out what CRM you want to use. I wouldn't recommend using Google Sheets, even though I've had a bunch of clients in the past that have used Google Sheets. I personally wouldn't recommend it because nowadays CRM could end up costing you a lot of money. And last but not least, you have to have an actual way of selling. And I cannot stress this enough. It's extremely important for you to have a structure, a script that you're going to follow, that you follow religiously when you sell solar over the phone. It's not like any other method of selling face-to-face or door-to-door or whatever you might have tried before. It is an entirely different way of selling. Why? They cannot see your facial expressions. You're going to have to account for each and every single one of these things. And so it's extremely important that the way you're presenting it aligns 100% with the method that you've chosen to sell, which is over the phone. And I'm going to have more videos on that coming to you. But yes, it is extremely important that you have a structure that you can follow when doing it over the phone. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to have more videos coming to you regarding remote solar sales. And more so, I will have more videos on the topic of selling over the phone very, very soon. So make sure you are subscribed so you don't miss out anything. Thanks for watching.